Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching me from. How was your day? If you can see me, if you can hear me, can you drop a comment in the comment section? If you can see me, you can hear me. Yes, welcome to today's conversation. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. This is the November edition of School of Parenting Online Conversation, and it promises to be an enlightening one. So, if you can see me, you can hear me. Can you let me know in the comment section, please? So, I'm sure that I can be seen and I can be heard. You can see me, you can hear me. Thank you for joining us on this conversation this beautiful evening or afternoon or morning, depending on where you're watching me from. You can see me, you can hear me, please. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. We've had an amazing time this year. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have had an amazing time this year, beginning from February. We started the SOP Online conversation this year from February, and now we are in November. Yes, it's an amazing time. So quickly, not to waste a lot of time, we're going to be talking about breaking free, dealing with pain and trauma as a parent. Yes, very important. So in this conversation, we're deciding to focus on the parent. We're deciding to focus on the parents. We're deciding to focus on you, not your children, because it's important, like we always say, parenting begins with you, the parent. So we're focusing on you. How do you break free from pain, from trauma as a parent? So childhood trauma doesn't remain in childhood. It follows you into adulthood. It follows you into your marriage. It follows you into your parenting journey. So because you had a trauma or a pain in your childhood doesn't mean you left it behind. It's something you carry along. And someone said something that trauma is not just the event that happened to you, is what happens within you because of that event. And going forward, someone else said something that trauma is not just what happens within you, it's something that did not also happen to you that should have happened to you. So it's so important that we talk about these things because as parents, a lot of parents carry a lot of guilt, a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of unforgiveness, and they carry this burden on their shoulders. And somehow we pass this burden onto our children. So it's important we deal with these things because for you to be an effective parent, you have to fix you first. Most times as parents, we want to fix our children, but it starts with fixing you. You have to be present in your own life. You have to deal with the issues in your life. You have to deal with the pain. You have to face it and deal with it before you can parent effectively. That is what being a whole parent is all about. You must fix you first before you can actually groom a wholesome child. So it is so important that we talk about this today because you are the mirror your child sees. And your child doesn't just hear your instruction, they also absorb your emotional energy. So it's very critical with Joel and this today. So quickly, I'm going to read the profile of our guest today. She's an amazing person. Yes, I'm so excited for this conversation, and I believe you are also. So I'm going to read her profile quickly, and I'm going to bring her live. So she's a professional counselor, having a niche in marriage and family, mental health, and grief counseling. She works with individuals, couples, organizations to gain insight into personal problems and provide successful solutions through pathways of counseling, therapy, and facilitation. She organizes various programs both online and in person that fosters human development. She's married with 3 children. So right now, you're going to join me as I welcome to this stream. Yes, I'm going to be adding our guest to the stream right away. You're going to join me as I welcome to the stream Mrs. Adriel Aze. Yes, can we roll it for her? You know the way we used to roll it. We used to roll the drum for people here. Welcome, ma. Welcome.
Thank you. Good
Welcome, ma.
evening.
Good
Good
evening. I'm so
evening.
excited having you here today. This is your second time
Yay.
on SOP Online
Yes.
Conversation. Yes. Welcome, welcome, ma.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I think I
How
was
has your
here a
day
year
been?
ago. Everything
Oh, it's
was
a year ago,
fine.
right?
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
that
Yes. It
conversation
was
we
last
had
year.
was amazing. That conversation we had last year was amazing. An amazing conversation, and I'm looking forward to this conversation because I know we're going to learn a lot. And the only thing I'm thinking about is that we're not going to finish this conversation. That's just the other side of the thing. Because I know when the discussion starts, I pray we're going to get halfway through this conversation. But the good thing is that I know everyone is going to learn something. And people, I believe for today that parents that are on this platform or anybody that's on this platform, people will receive healing and they will start in the process of healing because of this conversation. So I'm really excited, Ma. Thank you for joining us on this conversation. So we're going to just go straight to this conversation. Thank you, Ma. So we're going to go straight to the conversation. We're talking about breaking free, dealing with pain and trauma as a parent. Now, like I said something, most times when parents start parenting, they focus more on their children and feel like everything is about the child, forgetting that to be an effective parent, it starts with you as a parent. Because whatsoever you're giving to that child, it comes from you, and you cannot give what you don't have. So everything your child is going to become, you're going to mirror it to them. So it starts with your healing. It starts with you knowing. It starts with you acquiring knowledge and wisdom. So when it comes to trauma, what actually is trauma? We say this word a lot. People just say it, I'm traumatized. Oh, I'm traumatized. People just say trauma, trauma. What is trauma? What does it mean to be traumatized? What is trauma?
All right. So trauma is an emotional response. It's not just any response. It's an emotional response to deeply distressing or deeply disturbing experiences or events that one has been exposed to previously that now negatively affects or has the ability to affect one's functioning negatively. So it's an emotional distressing response. It's your response to. So you won't know that one has been traumatized until you see the person act in certain ways. You see the person act in certain ways. That action is actually a response to something that has happened before. And it shows up in diverse ways. I don't want to list them because I know that this is what we're going to be going into. So as we go on, we'll touch them.
Yeah. Okay. An emotional response that to a deeply disturbing experience that has happened before that tends to affect the way the person lives their life now, probably their perspective to things, their attitude to things. And it is that for people to be able to live well, that means they need to be set free from trauma. So how do people, or what's your definition of breaking free? What does it mean to be free from trauma? What does it mean to break free?
Okay, so breaking free from trauma. Yes, it's Nigeria, so we are we are together. So breaking free. Can you hear me?
Free. When we're talking about breaking free from trauma, what does it mean to be the word break free from trauma?
Okay. So breaking free from trauma is actually detangling. I choose to use that word. It's actually, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you, ma'am.
Okay. So it is actually detangling from the effects of trauma. So trauma shows up in diverse ways. It could be anger, it could be isolation, it could be depression, it could be withdrawal, it could be any manner of negative behavior. It could even be being addicted. It could be overreacting to things. It could be not even reacting at all. It could be not even feeling anything. It could be absence from reality. It could be living in denial. It could be all of these and more. So detangling yourself deliberately from these effects is breaking free from trauma. Breaking free from trauma is resolving the effects, not just detangling alone. You could just, find a way to come out of it, and you are not really out of it. Because people feel that denying it is actually breaking free from it. It's not true. You could deny it. Tell yourself that I'm fine. Tell yourself that it just happened. I'm just keeping it somewhere. I'm not worried about it. If you do that, you are denying the experience. That's not what we're saying. Deliberately resolving the effects. Oh, I feel like I throw tantrums because of an experience I've had previously. And now I have decided to face it and get myself out of it. I detangled because I was twisted in that experience. I was twisted in that response. It became my new pattern. So now I want to disconnect from it. I have to now sit down and resolve what it is. So resolving it is key to detangling from that response. So breaking free is getting yourself out, literally, from that kind of dysfunctional response to trauma.
So it actually has to do with two things. You detangle yourself and you resolve the situation.
Yes.
So you don't just leave and you sweep it under the carpet and assume all is well. You have to resolve the issue so that you can actually go on well with your life. Now I'm going to ask a very funny question. Some of the effects you mentioned about trauma, you talked about anger, you talked about overreacting. And in this day and time, parents are very quick to snap. Parents are very quick to just react for little things. A child just maybe breaks a plate, and the parent is yelling and screaming like if probably somebody died or the child killed somebody. Or parent just gets angry quickly. Everybody just quick to get upset. Now, is it possible that a lot of parents have trauma hidden somewhere? And that is why it's so difficult for us to handle our emotions, especially when it comes to anger, when it comes to resentment, when it comes to unforgiveness. Is it possible that a lot of us as parents, we have things that we have kept in our lives unresolved? So probably we have swept them under the carpet. And so it becomes like the normal way of life. And most times people just excuse it and say, that is how I talk, or that is who I am. So, and that is just the way I react. But you see that there's something underlining, there's something underneath that is sponsoring these reactions and behavior. Is it possible that a lot of parents are traumatized?
Yeah, a lot are actually. A lot are. But we are not going to just conclude that if anybody exhibits any of these behaviors, it means the person is traumatized. So someone could react like that based on stress. Stress could drive you. Parenting is not easy, it's work. So stress could drive you to reacting or responding in certain ways.
Sure.
But then you mentioned something. When a parent yells at a child, and because the child just broke a plate, and the parents react like somebody died, you can imagine a very simple way to understand that this could be trauma is when the reaction does not correspond with the action. Like the physicist will say, to every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. When the reaction is not equal and opposite, then you can now suspect that something is wrong. When it goes beyond what is expected, normally a child does something, you can react. We are Africans. There are ways that we were raised. There are ways we behave. There are ways we act. We yell. Even unconsciously, we do that. But when it gets out of the normal, when it gets out of proportion, it is now time to take a quick look and see that is it just this thing that happened? Could there be an underlying problem somewhere that has triggered this amount of reaction that is not commensurate with the action that leads to it? So most are traumatized, but we are not going to generalize that if the parents react in a certain way, it means the person is traumatized. No, we don't generalize like that.
Okay. Okay. So, what kind of painful experiences from childhood and even adulthood do parents carry into parenting? Painful experience they carry into parenting.
So what kind of painful
Painful
experiences
experiences from
do
childhood
parents, from
carry
childhood that parents bring
carry
in?
into parenting. Yes.
So there is something that traumatic experiences does to people. It takes something away from you. Anyone that has had traumatic experience, it takes something away from them. Yes, we're talking about trauma. We have not really given examples of what could be trauma, what kind of experiences that could be trauma. So most times, what are the deep experiences, the deep disturbances that we experience that we tag as trauma? They could be abuse. Abuse may be physical, extreme abuse, physical. It could be emotional. It could be sexual. It could be spiritual. It could be financial. It could be a form of accident. It could be witnessing some kind of bad actions. Maybe someone is killed in the presence of someone else. It's a traumatic, it's a deeply emotionally disturbing experience. It could even be disaster. So all of these things, natural disaster. So all of this is somebody can be crossing and a vehicle hits the person crossing, and once one was standing there and the person witnesses this kind of experience, it's trauma. When the person wants to cross tomorrow, that is when you will know that person had traumatic experience. But I want to believe that when we narrow it down to parenting, we could pull out those disasters and maybe begin to pull out maybe accidents. In some cases, depending on the kind of accident, we could begin to narrow down to some form of abuses. I want to believe that that is the area that you are thinking from. So now, if we are narrowing it to somewhere around abuse or not a very external experience, I would mention a few kind of painful experiences that people come into parenting with. So whenever somebody experiences trauma, like I was trying to say before I mentioned the types of trauma, is that you lose a part of you. You lose a part of you. And that part of you that you lose could even be your voice.
Yeah.
Trauma can actually steal your voice. It can steal your ability to talk. It can steal your authentic self. You could become a different person entirely because you were traumatized. Somebody that has been betrayed, may not be able to trust anybody again, may not be able to open up again. Something has left the person. The pain of betrayal, a parent can come into parenting with the pain of betrayal, with the pain of the loss of authentic self, can come in with the pain of neglect that he or she experienced before, could come in with the pain of abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, could come in with emotional abuse, financial abuse. So these things, when somebody experiences it and it's unresolved, a person consciously or unconsciously comes into the act of parenting with all of this pain or some of this pain and begin to project it knowingly or unknowingly to the children.
True. That's a lot. That's a lot. And sometimes, I feel that the recipients, apart from the individual that is traumatized, the recipient of trauma is actually the people around us, especially, or first of all, our loved ones,
Yeah,
because they're in close proximity to us. So
very
they
true.
feel everything, they feel the hurt. Sometimes it looks like you are not doing, most times you feel like you're not doing anything, but you're actually
Most
passing
times.
energy. You're
Yeah,
exuding energy into the environment, into the atmosphere, your home. And
yeah,
even your loved ones around you, your spouse, your children, they feel this energy and
yeah,
they absorb this energy. And unconsciously, a traumatized parent that maybe has not healed passes on a lot to those around him or her without knowing it. And
yeah.
it begins to shape the perception of probably the children, and they see life in a particular way because when they look at these parents, that is how they define certain areas of life. Because that
True.
parent is the mirror that they see first. So it's really critical for us as parents to analyze these things and find out that is there a part of my life that needs to be attended to, that I need to detangle and resolve. So not
Yeah,
just knowing that I have a problem here, I have been pained in this area. It's beyond knowing. Knowing is just, I feel, like, it should be like the initial step to healing. You know
yeah,
you have this issue. But you have to get
yeah,
to the point where you resolve and like, I'm going to leave this thing and I'm going to resolve it and I'm going to turn my life around. Like you said,
yeah,
one of the effects is like you may lose your authentic self and your voice. And I
yeah.
believe a lot of parents have capped themselves and become who they are really not because of the situations they faced, and is affecting even their spouse and their children. So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask this question. How does unhealed pain or trauma influence the way we discipline our children? Because I
Hmm.
believe that one aspect of parenting that trauma affects is discipline, how we discipline our children and how we show love to them. So how does the pain that has not been healed, how does it affect how we discipline our children and how we express love to our children?
Love to our children in diverse ways. You will be shocked. You will be shocked at the things that parents do that signals trauma. So you start. Let me start from what you said earlier. Yelling. But this time I'm going to rename it and call it over yelling. So you are always yelling. Always yelling. You're walking yourself up. I had a session with a mom that lost her voice, and I was asking her, what happened? Why did you lose your voice? And she said it was the children. And I remember her telling me that her children were still very young. So I asked her, how old are these children? Again. And she said 2 and 4. I said, a child of 2 and 4 made you shout to the extent of you losing your voice and you can't even talk. I can barely hear you. And she said, yes. So I told her, sit down. There is something wrong with you, not the children. If a child of 4 can make you lose your voice, what happens when the child is 12? When the real work has started? What then happens? Over yelling could be one of the way we try to show discipline. We could become over disciplined and it becomes a form of abuse to the children. You see on social media, you see some kind of beating, physical
Yeah.
abuse that some parents met out to the children. You beat a child, the child bleeds, the child breaks a part of the body, the child passes out, the child is rushed to the hospital, there is severe injury that needs medical intervention, and you say that is discipline, is a form of abuse. So they abuse physically, they abuse emotionally, As they throw those tantrums, they say heavy words that they can't take back. And those words shape these children. You tell the child that you are useless, you are good for nothing, you will die early because you were offended as a parent. That is heavy. You don't even know what is driving you. You don't even know what the emotions behind what you're doing as a parent. And yet you're spilling seriously. And you say that you are a disciplined parent. You become over controlling as a parent, over controlling. And the children don't have a say. The children can't think. We're raising children that have low resilience, poor decision-making skills, because the parent is over-controlling, over-involved. There is no time to allow these children find expression of themselves. It's a sign that you're traumatized. They become overprotective, overly protective. Oh, every little step, no, don't go. A child is going to write an exam, you see the parents entering the hall with the child. A child cannot just buy something. Oh, you are there, you want to do it for the child. Overprotection is a sign. Unempathetic parents actually show that they are disciplined, but they are unempathetic. They don't feel, they lack emotions. They can't get into the world of the child and experience for a second what this child is experiencing. Yes, I understand that there are times that we don't want to show emotions because we want to teach something. But when it becomes consistent, there is problem. It's a red alert that there is problem. Over providing. Yeah, you talked about how maybe the way we show love. Sometimes over providing for children in the name of, I don't want my child to suffer. I suffered so much, and so I don't want my child to suffer. You see that you're suffering so much that you are explaining left you a traumatic person. So you were traumatized because of the lack you experienced. And now you are projecting it in an opposite manner to your child by over-providing. Every single thing the child needs, oh, you must have. You need, you want, I give it to you. Even at the detriment of the child. It's so bad that some parents don't even know what is not good for the child. As long as a child needs it, you give. They lack that knowledge. They don't even know that this thing that I am giving this child is not good. For the child, a child takes Fanta now, and the child is crying for sweets immediately, and you give. And immediately after the sweets, the child is crying for chocolate, and you give, and you are providing, and you are telling yourself that it is love, and you don't want your child to suffer. A parent can also expose children to certain age inappropriate behaviors in the name of showing love or being disciplined. Exposure. I'll give you examples. Exposing children to age inappropriate behaviors in the name of I care or I don't care. Fashion is one of them. You see a child with eyelash extension at the age of 4. What's the parents telling you? Once you see that kind of child at that age, you already know that this child is being raised by dysfunctional parents. You see a child graduating at kindergarten with nails fixed on the child of 4 carrying nails. A child of 4 wearing wig. Come on. How do you express childhood? Parents that cannot even draw the thin line between what it means to be an adult and what it means to be a child. Inappropriate age, in exposure to age inappropriate activities or behavior. Giving a child cigarettes to just draw because the father smokes or the mother smokes at the age of 8. Giving a little child beer or alcohol to take because you take alcohol. And you will say it doesn't matter. Exposure to sexual content. The child is young and you are watching something that is sexually inappropriate for the age of that child, and it's fine for the child to watch with you. And you are saying it does not matter. It is the way I show love or it is the way I discipline. Engaging children in certain kind of adult conversations. You're saying it does not matter. It is freedom. And you see some children as young as they are, they say certain things and you know that this child has been exposed to something. Because that same, the age mate of that child cannot even say those kind of things. It has not even occurred to their mind that there is something like that. So you question the exposure of that child. And another way that parents can also show their trauma in form of discipline is lack of trust. Lack of trust. So they can't trust a child to do anything and do it well. They don't allow the children make mistakes. Say, no, you can't make mistakes. You can't fail. So you begin to raise children that become perfectionists because they are not given opportunity to fail. You raise adults that will try something and they fail and they become suicidal because they never failed before in their lives. Because parents have set standards that are too high for the children. If you get a B, you are a dullard. It's going to show up later.
Yes.
It's going to show up later. And when it shows up, it will come out as a personality disorder. We see them in the office. You work with them in the office as adults. You can't make any single mistake. The boss will almost finish you, abuse you, tell you to also call you all sorts of names. Why will you drop the pen where you were not supposed to drop it? Traumatized boss. Because when he was a child, they taught him how to be so perfect, how not to make mistakes. And the parents called it discipline. And now it is reflecting as a personality disorder that people will not have to deal with if you are around that person. So this is just some of the ways that we can show discipline negatively and love negatively.
That's a whole lot. And when you really look into the society, you find out that a lot of these things are happening. I was speaking somewhere yesterday, and I was telling them that as parents, do not allow your child lose their childhood. And you mentioned that because the way the society is becoming or going, you find out that parents are in a hurry to allow their children or their child, their toddler or preschooler, become adults. And it's like you are rushing them to leave childhood. Like you said, you see young children dressed as like adults, and you're wondering, this child should be able to enjoy childhood and go through the process. But a child is no longer allowed to be a You're expecting certain level of maturity from a 2-year-old, and you expect a level of, I don't understand. But the way it is in society now, people are demanding so much from children, and they tend to lose their childhood. And we think that we are parenting well. And so it looks like you are now the perfect parents. Your 2-year-old behaves like a 13-year-old, and it looks like everybody's clapping for you and you think you're doing well. But like you said, it can just be a sign that you have been traumatized. And the aspect of beating children. Now, some people beat children in the verge of correcting a behavior. They beat the self-esteem and the dignity out of that child. And so that child does not even have a voice anymore. You find out that the child becomes so timid, cannot say anything, cannot defend himself, can be oppressed and suppressed and put in a box because a parent thought that that was the best way to discipline a child. So I believe that all these things you have said over protection, we need to really look into these things because, sometimes we give the excuse that I love my child. It's because I love my child. That's why I'm doing these things. But I think this love, we should question it all and just try to extrail our love and really look into it. Like, do we really love our child, or we're parenting them from a position of trauma, of pain, and it looks like you are trying to project love to them? I'm going to ask a question. Where is the place of parents trying to live their lives through their children? Now, a parent feel that I was supposed to be this, but I didn't become this, and so I have to live my life through my child. Or a parent feel that I'm supposed to have attained this level of success, but I'm supposed to, you just have a picture of who they should have been, and because they could not get, they just want to pour that into the child and make the child become who they should have been. So they try to live their life through their child. Where does that come in all of this?
Okay. So before I answer that, I want to respond to something you said as you were trying to just reiterate. You talked about the parents, the way they discipline and the way they make the children become adults and all of that, the way they handle the children. Now, I also want to say this. Some of these parents were raised that way.
True.
Who taught them? That is why I truly honor you and I appreciate what you are doing. Gone are the days where we just parent anyhow. Parenting has to be learned. Parenting has to be, we need to school ourselves to parent. I want to use this opportunity to just say thank you for this that you're doing. A lot of parents do not know sincerely. We're not going to just nail them. It is what you were given that you give back. If you check, most of us, just that we've been able to work on ourselves, most of us were raised the same way. Over yelling, over controlling, they confuse you. Your daddy is coming, you are running. What is that?
Very true.
Your father is coming, you are taking off like a monster is coming. We were also raised in that manner. But somehow, maybe as God will help us or fate will have it, we became exposed to a different experience and we were open to learn. So I just want to say this, that some parents, though that is why we are here, so that parents that are given what they were given can unlearn, actually. So now moving to parents trying to mirror their failed achievements in their children is putting the children under undue pressure and stealing or robbing the children's destiny from them. So I could never be a doctor, and my child must be a doctor. As I speak, what if I'm a trained counseling psychologist, What if my father insisted that I become an engineer? I will not be here talking this evening. I was given the opportunity to express myself, to discover myself. Who are you? When we force these children to become what we could not become, that's why I called it failed achievements. When we force them to become what we couldn't be, we steal their life from them. We steal their destiny from them. And we subject them to undue pressure. Because it is not easy living another person's life. I can't live your life.
Very true.
I can't. There are certain things I cannot do because I am not wired for it. There are certain things. I was telling somebody that there are certain kind of businesses I can't do because I am not wired for it. But put me on a platform to talk and teach and facilitate or counsel. That is where my strength is. I can do it and I will not get tired. In short, I had an experience. Let me just share this, just to emphasize you doing what you want to do. So we had a distress call on this Saturday afternoon. I had actually a distress call. It was a suicide attempt. And the person they were able to revive the person. They rushed the person to the hospital and they were able to revive the person. And the doctor insisted that he gets a therapist or a psychologist to talk to the person. So I quickly swung into action and I went to see the person. And so my husband actually went with me just to give me that moral support. He drove me down. We went in. He sat down with me. He just sat somewhere, not like he was just with me. He sat somewhere and I was talking with the person. And before I knew it, my husband was sleeping. I could understand. I was very alert. I listened to this person talk for 2 hours. And I was listening. I would just give some prompts. Really? Wow. Okay, just some things to just validate the person's feelings and emotions. But I was actually not talking. I was listening. And when we finished and we left the person's house and we're going, my husband said, Jesus, how can you listen for that long? Is that what you do? That was odd. That was boring. That was strange. That was difficult. He started naming, and I was laughing. He said, can you just be quiet for 2 hours? And he knows I'm the type that talks. I talk for a living, And he was wondering that how come you talk a lot and you can be so engaged in active listening for hours and you're not talking? And you are not sleeping on the person and you are not bored. And so I reminded him that I'm trained. I can listen for as long as we can kill the sleep when we want to listen. And so I just say this to buttress the point that what is not your calling, what is not your interest, is not it. You will struggle. You will not be able to explain it. But if you find yourself in that your area of call or strength or passion, you just find that it's easy for you to do. You do it with ease. So it is absolutely not encouraged. Don't make the children become that thing that you were not able to become. I couldn't be a doctor, and so my child must be a doctor. No, it's unacceptable. You are going to rob your child of his or her destiny. Thank you.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you so much. Thank you. I believe we're having a nice time with this conversation for everyone, parents or person online live with us right now. I believe we're learning a lot. If you have questions, please drop it in the comment section. There's a question there. We're going to attend to that question first before we continue on the questions I have. There's a question. It says, how do we live with perfectionist parents and not get hurt? How do we live with perfectionist parents and not get hurt?
Hmm. How do you live with affectionate parents and don't get hurt?
Perfectionist. Parents that are
Okay,
perfectionists.
perfection. Okay,
Yes,
perfection.
perfection. Yes, perfectionist. Yes,
Perfection. Okay,
perfection. Yes,
and not get hurt.
get hurt.
Is it possible? It's impossible. Perfectionism is a sign of dysfunction. You will get hurt. Oh, come on, you will get hurt because they are going to pressure you. They are going to stretch you beyond what is normal. They are going to put you in a place where you could become anxious and fearful and experience panic because you are under pressure to perform. So it is hard for you not to get hurt. They are going to put you down severally. They will put you down severally because you will never meet the standard. Never meet the standard. Not for once. So there are certain things you would do and you expect to be applauded. They talk you down.
Very true.
There are certain things you do. Oh, this subject was so hard. You just wanted to put in your best. And after your struggle, you made a B. And the person is telling you that you were foolish to have made a B. And you know your sincere efforts that you have made. This subject area is not your area of strength. But you did everything you could sincerely to make it. And somebody is telling you that you didn't do anything at all. And you are saying you won't get hurt, you will get hurt. You will be broken severally by a perfectionist parent. Your voice will be taken away because you will be judged all the days of your life. You will be judged. You will never be applauded. And that can also affect your personality as an adult. It could lead to withdrawal syndrome. It could make one begin to look for validation because you were never praised. You were never applauded. You were told all your life that you were ugly. And now the first boy to tell you that you're beautiful, you are all in. You can't even draw the line. You don't know what it means to be loved non-sexually, sexually. And so you mix up everything and you give them one single interpretation because nobody taught you how to fail. So you don't even know mistakes. You don't understand. This takes me to, I'm not trying to digress, but this takes me to the choices that parents even make in marriage.
Okay.
Sometimes when you sit down in marriage counseling, you are asking the person all of these things that you have complained about the other person. Did you notice them? Was there an inkling of this behavior before you went into it? And the person is saying yes. The person is telling you yes. Well, I saw a part of it and I just went in. And you are wondering, this man that is beating you like this every two days, did he ever touch you while you were dating him? And the person is telling you, yes, while we were dating, we dated for 2 years. And for that 2 years, he slapped me at least 10 times. and you're wondering, and you still went ahead. The person is telling you, yes, I actually did. And you are questioning this person's ability to make right judgments. Let me tell you, that person's sense of judgment is flawed. It was finished from his or her parents' house. The person didn't know how to take decisions because the person was not taught to judge and allowed to take the right decision and be trusted. For once, allow that person take a decision. Those days when we were small, our parents will watch us. You want to touch something hot, they allow you touch it. It was decision making that you were doing at that time. You didn't know. When you touch it, you get the consequence for that thing that you did. And never again, you won't go there. But do you also know, in as much as that approach may not be perfect, do you also know that if you deny the child sometimes from touching that thing, there will always be the longing to want to go there and try. So sometimes some of those things that they did worked for us. So I just wanted to touch that. That is one way that these things reflect in our lives as adults and we project it. It's a vicious circle. Kitty, if you look at it, it's a vicious circle.
Yes.
You were raised by a perfectionist, and now you become a perfectionist as well.
True. So true. There's another question here. It says, how do we correct without shouting and beating? How do we correct without shouting and beating?
Okay. How do you correct without shouting and beating? It's not hard, though. It is first of all understanding what you want to correct. That thing that you want to correct, what do you really know about it? Because sometimes you shout or you beat because you don't know. You don't have enough information about that thing. If you know, there are many ways to kill a rat. There are some kind of discipline you will subject a child to without even talking. And the child will beg you that I will not do it again. There are some things that you could deprive a child from. And the child knows that this is a consequence of something that I did. When you do that, you have not beaten.
Yes.
You have not yelled. You've not shouted. And yet you have corrected. So understanding that thing, what is the thing that makes you shout? What is the behavior of the child that makes you shout? How much do you understand that behavior? How much do you understand why that child is exhibiting that behavior? You see that parenting is becoming very technical.
Yes.
It's becoming very technical. You don't want to shout. It's possible that you won't shout and yet you are not making any effect. So when we teach parents, when we say don't yell, don't shout, we are also telling you to understand and look deeply into the problem. That behavior that the child is exhibiting, is the child trying to communicate something to you that you're not hearing, that is making that thing occur again and again? Is the child trying to tell you something? Is the child trying to signal you? Every behavior is a form of communication. What is behavior? Let me define behavior. So behavior is doing anything you do or saying anything you say that can be observed, that can be measured. That thing, definition of behavior is very simple. That is behavior. It is the psychological definition of behavior. Just doing anything you do or saying the things you say that can be observed and can be measured. So that child that is doing that thing that is doing, acting or saying, why is the person doing that thing? So if you can understand why, the why behind a particular action, you will now understand how to respond to that behavior without losing it. Without losing it. A child a toddler wore a shoe that had a scorpion inside. And the child was shouting and crying and could not pull the shoes. And the parents noticed though, and said, you cry too much. And even hit the child on top. Shut up. You cry anyhow. And took the child to school. The child continued and the teacher said, what is it now? Why are you crying? Oh, what is it? And the teacher noticed the way the child was, hitting the leg and pointing the leg. And the teacher said, your leg? Okay, let me see. And the teacher removed the shoe. And guess what? The child has been beaten severally by a scorpion. The child died, actually. Leg was swollen, red.
Oh my God.
They saw the scorpion inside the shoe. But unfortunately, the poison has moved and has gotten to the heart before they could actually do anything to save the child, and the child died. So that child was actually communicating something with that behavior.
Yes.
Even the one that is angry, even the bully is telling you something.
Yes.
The child that is not talking is telling you something. That child that is playing, jumping anyhow, is telling you something that you as a parent, you need to sit down in school of parenting and learn. Learn how to understand behaviors and the reason for a particular behavior. Whether it appears positive or negative, the person is saying something. So understanding it will teach you how to manage it better.
Wow. Every behavior communicates something to us as a parent. Let's not be quick to just find the easy way out. I feel most times as parents, we yell and shout a lot because we are helpless. Yeah. We don't have any other way to attend to that issue. So the easy way out is just to yell at the child and just make the child scared, and the child just find a way to be quiet. But like we said, parenting involves learning. We must learn. We must be intentional in this journey. We don't just parent by default anymore. You must be ready to learn. You must be ready to learn. You must be ready to unlearn. There are certain things we picked along the way and we felt were the right way to parent children, and they are not. So we must be ready to unlearn and must be ready to relearn. Let's not just go with the mentality that this is what I know. What are these people saying? Did it not produce result for me? Ask yourself. There are certain parts of our lives that we went through. Our parents, they parented us based on what they knew. And if we want to be sincere with ourselves, we'll know that certain aspects of our life, we didn't come out well. And we're doing the same thing to our children. The things we said we will not do, and we're not very happy with our parents, we're doing the same thing. We must wake up and be ready to learn, be ready to leave those things that we know are not correct and relearn. Very important, very important. I believe we're how we understand all of the questions are just coming out. Oh my God. So there's a comment here. How do we understand all of the behavior? There are a lot of things that we cannot just say here in one edition of School of Parenting Online Conversation. And that is why we must engage ourselves in continuous learning. When you are alive, you must, it's continuous. You keep learning over and over. You must take opportunities to learn and not just be there. So everything we cannot just answer in this one conversation is an ongoing thing. And that is why everybody on this conversation, learn to share the link. Share the link to your friends, parents out there. People need to learn a lot of things because we are a community. Now you may know what is right to raise your child. Your child will mix up with someone else's child that was raised in a certain way. And what is the tendency that your child will not be influenced? So we have to have this mentality of community living. Whatever you're learning that is beneficial to you to raise your child, share it with someone else. Because that person may just be the boss of your child tomorrow. Or that person may just be the spouse of your child tomorrow. And it looked like you had an opportunity to make a difference and you didn't. We're going to take one more question. We're going to ask our guest one more question. I'm going to wrap up this conversation. Thank you everyone for joining us. So the question is, we have said a lot about trauma. What is trauma, the effects we see, and a lot of things. We have a lot of questions, but I'm just going to ask this one question. What steps can a parent take to engage in the process of healing? Now, I know I am traumatized. I know that I have pain. I have things that I'm dealing with that probably are swept under the carpet. So, what do I need to engage in to start this process of healing?
Okay, this is a deep one. This is a deep one. I know why I emphasize this a deep one. So first of all, the process of healing. I like the word process. It means it is not automatic. You can't resolve an experience that have lasted for 30 years in 3 weeks. So it takes time to resolve. It takes time. I know why I am emphasizing it takes time. Some people will check themselves into therapy and they are not patient enough. I cannot undo that damage that your father did to you 25 years ago in 2 months. Because it is a process. You're going to start acting, you're going to start learning again like a child. You're going to fall on the way. So let me quickly talk about some of the steps. The first thing for a parent to do, engaging the process of healing, is to first of all be willing. So you have discovered the fact that you need help. So if you truly need help, are you willing to go through the work? Because it is real work. Are you ready to go through the work? Until you get to that point where you are so broken or you are so knowledgeable to know that I have problem and I give it up. I truly want to be better. You can't do anything. So first thing is willingness. The second thing is get a skilled helper. Get a skilled helper. You see these things that we're talking about, they are deep psychological issues. Gone are the days where mere advice work. Gone are the days where they will just tell you, forget now. Some of those forget now leads to denial, leads to repression of feelings that will further damage the individual. So as a parent, you need to get a skilled helper. First, I will recommend is a professional counselor and or a therapist. Because you know why I'm emphasizing this. It's not because they want to make money. They are trained. The training is not a joke. Somebody was asking, I felt for the person that asked just now, How can we learn all of these behaviors? I felt for the person because it can be overwhelming when you are not in that space. For
Yes,
people
it
like us,
can.
we have learned all of the behaviors because we've been subject to learn the behaviors so that we can help people. Name the behavior, good one or bad one. You're subject to learn because of training. But it is just for a few that have decided to go into that profession. So get somebody that is skilled. But just in case one is unable to access a skilled professional, or one is unable to afford a skilled professional, because you could have access to a skilled professional, therapy is not cheap. Counseling is not cheap. That is why I encourage people to take advantage of this kind of sessions. Because if you are talking to me outside this place, you will pay something.
Very well.
You pay something,
Very true. Very
you
true.
know. So it is beautiful to take advantage of this kind of setting. But just in case you cannot afford one or you cannot access one, you could look for somebody that is a bit experienced. I'm minding my word experience. I'm actually minding my word because some of the things we call experience is not actually experience that can help you, but maybe a reliable and a trained minister could help. I use the word reliable and trained, not a minister that is quack, not a minister that is half-baked, not a minister that will take advantage of you. We've had many of those cases where someone has a child that is troubled. You take the child to someone and the person ends up abusing the child. Or even a parent that feels like, oh, I have a problem. And the person goes to meet a minister to say, oh, you're a minister of God. Please help me. And the person is saying, come to my room for all night. Or bring 500,000 for me. Or do this or do that. No, we have to be careful. A trained minister and a reliable minister, one that knows his or her onion, can help. An experienced friend or relative can also help. Someone that is matured, that may have walked this journey successfully, could also be of help to somebody. A second step is to be ready to let go. Now you are ready to get healing. Now you've contacted somebody that is trained to help you. You need to be ready to let go of your trauma. Let go of the experience. Somebody will tell you, my father or my mother or that boy or that significant person in my life did this to me as a child. I can never let go or forgive. You're increasing your damage. You need to let go. So that whatever the skilled helper may be providing to you in the process of help can actually work. Another step the person can also take, following the ones I have listed, this is hard, or you will need to allow yourself feel the pain again. You may not be able to bypass it because it is trauma. It is deeply distressing. So in the process of trying to help you, you may feel the pain again because you will need to talk about it. So talking about it is very key. Share. Speak up. What did you experience? Were you physically abused? Do you have scars all over your body? as evidence of physical abuse, and it's so hard for you to heal? Were you sexually abused? Were you taken advantage of? Somebody stole your body from you, and now you do not want your son or your daughter to greet the opposite sex. What has happened? Revisit it. Open it up. Open up the wound so that it can get treatment, so that you can get healed. And in doing that, you will feel the pain again. But after that moment, you will never feel that pain the way you have always felt it before. Engage in relaxation exercises. Find a way to release the tension. In the process of healing, find a way to release the tension. Sometimes when you remember, you get tense, you get angry, you want to punch somebody. Punch your pillow is a form of releasing it. Don't punch any human being. If you need to ventilate, it's okay, but don't ventilate on an innocent person. You can go out and scream into the air. The air can take you. It can take everything, and you won't hurt anyone. You won't transfer your pain into your children or your spouse. Get someone that you can be accountable to, someone you can always go back to, someone that you can always talk to. Now, there is something that happens in the process of healing. You will experience relapse. That is why I insisted on a skilled helper. There are times that in the process of healing, you will feel like nothing is happening. You will feel like I'm not getting better. You will feel like the whole pain has come back again. I was okay in the past 2-3 months, but suddenly I woke up this morning and everything came alive. Am I normal? You are normal. We call it relapse. So in the process of recovery, in the process of healing, you will fall. You will slip back. But you will need that accountability partner to hold your hand and help you stand. And you continue walking again. It's a journey until you get to that place where you can say, I am whole again. I am free. This journey can take 2 years. It can take 1 year, depending on the magnitude of the trauma. It can take 5 years. Yes, as much as 5 years. But the truth is that it gets better every day. Even if it's taking 5 years, check yourself. 3 years into the process of healing, you will realize that you're way better. You're not the person you used to be 3 years before. You're getting better. You're a work in progress. And in the next few months or in the next few years, you could become whole again. The only thing we pray is that before then, just be sure that you have not done too much damage to the people around you. So those are the few steps I can share.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I believe I believe everybody that has been on this conversation has been opened up to a lot of truth and they receive light. That's what I believe. And I believe that every other person that's going to watch this after now will also receive light and they will walk in the path to freedom from pain, from guilt, from trauma, and every other thing. So I really want to say thank you so much, Ma, for joining us in this conversation. Apologies for us extending the time, but you'll be able to witness that what we have been saying here, or what our guests have been saying, are things that are very important to us, not just as parents, but as individuals, as humans, so that we can live a positively influential life for the period of time we have here. Thank you, Ma, for being our guest today. It's not the last time. I said that 1 year ago. I'm saying it again. It's not going to be the last
Sure.
time you're going to come on this
No.
conversation. Thank you for your wealth of knowledge. I have learnt myself, and I believe every other person has learnt. What we're going to do, we're going to share your details on our platform, our School of Parenting community, and also on our social media handle, so that for people that need, what's the word, that need skilled help, you can reach out to our guests. I can say she's a skilled help. I'm not joking, skilled helper. She's a counselor. She has been doing counseling for a long time now. She has results. Yes. So we're going to drop your details, your profile, and everything on our community, on our handle, so people can reach out to you. You know, I tell people that nobody is an island of knowledge. I don't know everything. There are things I cannot handle that you can handle because you're a professional in that field. And that is why we are all here to help each other and to grow so that we become better parents. So thank you so much, Ma, for joining us on this conversation. Thank you for everything you have taught us. We are grateful and we look forward to having you in our next, not in another conversation. Very soon, Ma. Very soon,
Thank
Ma.
you for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much.
School of
Thank you, Ma.
Parenting. It's a
Yes,
privilege to
Ma.
share. And
Yes,
continue
Ma.
your good work. Continue the work of encouraging parents and giving them the opportunity to learn and do the business of parenting well. Thank you.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you, Ma. Have a beautiful night rest, Ma. Thank you
You
so
too.
much. Yes,
Bye.
Ma. Bye, Ma. So that is our conversation for tonight. Yes, and I know that we have learned a lot. You may have to go back to this conversation, listen again, so that you can digest a lot of things. It is so important that we heal as parents. It's so important that we're ready and willing to detangle ourselves from our hurt, our pain, our trauma, and resolve them. Very important. And like she said, some of these things you can't do on your own. There is no shame in it. There's no timidity in it. If you need a skilled helper, please look for one. And our guest is a skilled helper. We're going to drop our details in our community and our Facebook handles. You can reach out to her. Now, Dima Wombi, the Queen of Happiness, said that heal as a parent, because when you heal, it is part of being responsible as a parent. So heal as a parent, because healing, according to her, is responsible parenting. So I believe we're going to start this process and we're going to continue in this process. And we're going to get the results we're looking for. And we're going to turn out as all parents. So thank you everyone for joining this conversation. Do well to follow us on our social media page. You can also follow us on our community. We're going to drop the link to join our School of Parenting community on our WhatsApp group. You can join us in our community so you can learn, you can get recent information, you can follow us on our Facebook page. And also, you can also get my book, Family Vision. Yes, you don't want to be left out when it comes to reading that book. That book is an amazing book. It's an encounter in your path of parenting. So do well to get the book Family Vision. And like I will always say before I end this conversation, spend time with your family, create moments with them, create memories with them. And like Zig Ziglar said to a child, love is spelled time. Have a wonderful night, everyone. A wonderful afternoon, morning, depending on where you're watching me from. I am Kite Ahmed, the founder of School of Parenting and the convener of School of Parenting online conversation. It's bye for now. See you in the next edition in December. Bye.